Everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be customizing this Swiss Army knife with custom walnut scales on the side. We're going to be adding a special name for a friend of mine who's going to be giving this away as a birthday present to someone special. So I thought that would be a perfect opportunity to show you how I set up the file and how I align it to the object to make sure that it comes out just right. So if that's something that interests you, stick around. We'll jump right into it. All right, to make sure we can get our engraving centered and aligned properly, first thing we need to do is be able to accurately measure the space we're working with. And so there's two tools I like to use when working with items for my laser. Number one is one of these smaller tape measures, and you'll notice it says 6 feet and 2 meters. The nice thing here is that it has both imperial and metric measurements on either side. And so if you're based in the US and you've grown up using imperial measurements, it's really nice and handy to be able to measure maybe in units you're used to, in inches, but also compare that really quickly to your metric scale. Obviously, yes, we should be able to work more in metric as possible, but tools like this just help you get over that initial confusion of, okay, I don't understand the relationship to inches to millimeters. So strongly recommend. These are only like $5 at the big box store, so take a look at one, get that yourself. And then for other things, then having a digital calipers like this is nice. Again, this one will measure in fractions. It'll measure in metric as well as decimal points in inches. And so it's really convenient to use those three scales in taking our measurements. And of course, anytime you use this, you want to make sure you zero off. And I know this is a cheap brand for simple woodworking and things like this. We're not going for extreme precision. Generally within 30-second is going to be close enough. So pick yourselves up a couple of those measurement tools and that will help you great. All right, so we are looking at this piece and we need to kind of get an idea of overall size. So our length here is about 90 millimeters and our height is just a hair under 20 millimeters. And I'm going to want to leave maybe about 5 to 6 millimeters between the edge of the knife at the bottom there, and then as well as the shield insignia. So I'm going to have about 50 millimeters there to work with, or roughly just under 2 inches. And then again, our relationship there, we need to leave some height. So we've got about 20. I would probably leave about 3 or 4. So we got about 10 to 12 millimeters of height to work with. So now that we know those dimensions, we can jump into our software and start laying out our artwork.
Anytime I do a custom engraving, I like to do a mock-up for the customer first. So I went and found an image online of a Swiss Army knife, did an image trace to get just the outline and the crest, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring in the text and the font that was requested. We'll do a little playing around with the size, make sure it looks about right, and then I'll go ahead and set up the file for an engraving and a cut. I like to keep scrap pieces of various materials around. So this is a scrap piece of walnut I've got, and what we're going to do is go ahead and focus the laser on that, and we'll cut out that file just to do a test engraving. And so you see it's sped up, and it's going to do the engraving first and then do the outline of the cut. And once it's done, we can kind of do an overlay showing what it approximately going to look like engraved on that walnut knife. Since this is a pre-finished piece, I want to protect the surface so it doesn't get any extra overburn. So I'm just using some painter's tape here and really burnishing it down. And then I'm finding the center point between the end of the knife and that crest and making a simple mark side to side and then top to bottom so I have a reference point for our center. We're going to go ahead and set the piece down into the laser. We'll go ahead and set the focus height to the surface of that knife scale. And then I'm just going to roughly center this and align it. Since this is a one-off, I'm not going to set up a jig, but now I can turn the low power laser on to get the exact center aligned. And then we'll go ahead and look from the side and do a framing just to check the alignment and make sure it looks good. I might make a couple adjustments and then go ahead and burn it from there. And once again, this is sped up quite a bit, but you'll see I'm doing actually 3 different passes on this, just kind of checking to make sure it gets through the tape and then that it is an even burn. Do a quick inspection before we move anything, just in case we need to take another pass. But once it's good enough, we pull it out of the laser and we can pull back the tape revealing the nice engraving. And then just want to make sure that after we pull the main piece off, we weed any of the interior pieces out, just so it's nice and clean.
And so there we go. We have one customized Swiss Army knife, and since this was a somewhat unique item, I mean, granted, we could replace this knife, but anytime that I'm working with something that's a little more unique and harder to replace the material, I like to do a test blank as best I can. I can also, especially in this case, I had a scrap piece of thin walnut. I was able to send them a quick photo saying, hey, does this look good? Is that what you're looking for? Kind of get their okay. Just saves me a little bit of concern that they're going to understand the end product and how it's going to come out, and gives me kind of a test how it's going to look in the first place. And then again, since this was kind of a pre-oiled, pre-finished surface, I wanted to put that masking tape over it. That helps keep any of the overburn off there. Just peel off the tape when you're done and weed out any of the spots. Leaves you with a really nice clean engraving. So I hope this helped out. I hope you learned a few tips from that. So don't be afraid to jump in there with some unique items. You know, if this was a family heirloom thing, I'd probably be really cautious in burning it unless I was 100% sure how it was going to turn out. But for semi-unique items like this, where you can add a little extra customization and personalization, it can really put the polish on that gift. So anyway, I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below. As always, it's helpful for you to leave those for interaction. It's great to hear from the community. And if you want to see more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Until next time, I hope you enjoy whatever you're doing in your shop, and hope to see you soon.